Hello, everybody. It's Monday, December the 11th, and I've just had the most amazing week away with my husband. His birthday's December the 7th, mine is December the 14th, so we always go away around this time of year. And I took a big break from making videos. I still wrote my Substack daily. You can find a link to my Substack in the description. But I did have a really good break, ready for my birthday and ready for the launch of my membership community, my rebranded membership community, The Nest. I am opening the doors to The Nest on my birthday, December the 14th, and they will be open until the end of the year. And then I'm going to close the doors again for a while because I've discovered after running a community for a while, and I really want to grow this community, that it's better if a group of people kind of join at the same time, join the group that's already there. They get more bonded, they get more connected, and then we can work with the cycles of Venus and the other cycles that we work with. But anyway, look for details of The Nest on December the 14th. I'll be launching that. You'll be able to find how to join that on my YouTube community posts, on my Cosmic Owl Astrology Facebook page, or on my Substack blog. And again, you can find links to that below. But while we're here, we're going to talk about Mercury retrograde. And speaking of Mercury retrograde, I'm going to remind you to subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up and check the little bell maybe to get notified when I upload new content. All right. Now, Mercury retrograde, I have to do my thrice and sometimes 4 times yearly reminder: do not fear Mercury retrograde. Sure, some little tech glitches can happen, but you know, we need retrogrades. They are a normal kind of cycle of the cosmos. What happens when a planet goes retrograde from our perspective is that they are closer to Earth, so their impact is stronger. And they don't actually go backwards, of course, but the planet appears to slow down and go back over an area of the zodiac so that we can revisit, redo, reflect, all the words, revisit, you name them, you know. And Mercury retrograde is the best known because it happens 3 and sometimes 4 times a year. So let's dive into this Mercury retrograde. I'm going to share my chart. I'm going to talk about the major aspects, but I am actually starting today. I'm starting on December the 11th. We have a new moon happening tomorrow. So the moon is now in Sagittarius, approaching the sun, and we get this new moon early tomorrow when the moon will conjunct the sun, and that's at 20 degrees Sagittarius. Now that's kind of going to be a hot area of the zodiac, and it's very relevant to the Mercury retrograde because Mercury will station direct on January the 1st, new year, new start, at 22 degrees of Sagittarius. And we also have a couple of other things happening around that degree. Namely, first of all, Venus is going to come up and conjunct Ceres also later at 21 degrees Sagittarius. So we've got this whole little collection at 20, 21, 22 degrees Sagittarius, the most optimistic of signs. And so, you know, there is a new moon podcast that I made here in my channel that you can go and revisit if you want to look at all that detail and the aspects. But let's say that this Mercury retrograde is intimately tied in with this new moon. So we can see that the new moon, these are all Eastern times, is at 6:32 p.m. on December the 12th. And then early in the morning, just a few hours later at 2:09 a.m. Eastern, Mercury stations retrograde. Oh dear, excuse me. Now, the first thing to notice with this is that Mercury stations retrograde at 8 degrees of Capricorn. And 8 is a fabulous number. 8 is a number of strength. It's the number of infinity. If you turn 8 on its side, that becomes the infinity symbol. 8 is also 2 circles sitting on top of each other, so it's a perfectly balanced number. It's related to the north node of the moon. I am always referring here to numerology the numbers and their meanings .blogspot.com, and that link is below in the description too. It's related as well to the strength card in the tarot, and it just is this number of strength, of personal power, of really kind of stepping into balance. And so it's a wonderful number. It's known as the number of wealth and abundance and prosperity, because I think when we come from a place of balance and strength, we are able to create what we want in our world. Now, first, oh gosh, sorry about this. Let's look at the chart for the station retrograde. Well, it's part of this wonderful energy that we have going on when we use the asteroids that I find essential now, the asteroids and the extra points. We have a Star of David. So the actual station retrograde is part of this Earth grand trine. Mercury is stationing retrograde conjunct Pholus, the Pandora's box centaur, the centauric healing process of, you know, taking the lid off and revealing all the sins, if you like, or the corruption in Capricorn, the patriarchy. And so that's an interesting thing for when we look at the Cazimi. But this is also in a trine to Jupiter, which is stationing direct on 30th of December, just 2 days before Mercury stations direct. Jupiter in Taurus. Jupiter's been in Taurus, asking us, retrograde in Taurus, asking us to deepen and expand our rootedness and our values in our body, in our somatic senses with the earth. And I think we are being inexorably pulled towards that, especially as we head towards this Jupiter-Uranus conjunction that is happening next year. I talked about that in my 2024 preview webinar that's available for download. I'll put that in the description too. Just $33 for the recording, the slides, and an unedited transcript. But then the other leg of this Earth Grand Trine, we have Hecate. Hecate, the way shower, the triple moon goddess with the keys, who holds her lamp at the crossroads, showing you your direction. Here she is behind me, Hecate, in Virgo, which is the sign of the Marys, or the priestess, or wholeness, but also of service and meaningful work. That will become relevant as well when we look at some of the symbols. And then we have Black Moon Lilith here, which is, you know, the wild elemental part of ourselves. You could say it's the elemental divine feminine, but it's, of course, all of this is within all of us. So this Earth Grand Trine is asking us to step into this real connectedness with the Earth and to revisit a few things, and I'll talk about what in a minute. The other part of this Star of David that the Mercury station retrograde is a part of is a water grand trine. We have Vesta in Cancer over here. We have Haumea, the creatrix, in Scorpio. Vesta is the inner flame of the state and ourselves and the hearth. And in Cancer, this is the home, the family, our emotional self, self-care. We have Haumea in Scorpio, in the very fertile, fecund waters of Scorpio, creating and birthing something new. Now, Haumea is the creation goddess of Hawaii. She was the mother of all the gods and goddesses. She gave birth from any part of her body, and she herself regenerated. She aged and then regenerated and became young and kept creating. She birthed Pele. She birthed all of the Hawaiian gods and goddesses. And this kind of indicates that she's in these fertile waters. And if you think about a lot of the creation myths, you know, we had things coming from chaos, from the waters, emerging. Venus emerged from the water after, Uranus's testicles were thrown into the ocean. So it came from the sky down to the earth to create the ultimate earth goddess, Venus. And then Saturn in Pisces over here. Saturn in Pisces has been helping us and is continuing to help us release our blocks to our connection with source spirit, our divine self inside, and our interconnectedness with the collective unconscious. And Saturn was retrograde in that sign, but is now moving forward. And next year, we'll actually in 2025, we'll actually move into Aries and conjunct Neptune, which also moves into Aries. But for now, we've got this earth and water Star of David pattern that is just beautiful. Okay, it's really kind of like earth and water. I always think of sculpting and making earthly things, and earth and water make mud, which we can sculpt from, you know, and it also slows things down and we wade through mud. Now, you know, this is at 8 degrees of Capricorn in a semi-sextile to Ceres, who I am writing a book about, and I have this whole new chapter coming out. I hope I get time to write some of it today. I already had to reschedule a doctor's appointment because I'm so full of ideas. I missed it, but they were very understanding. But anyway, this is a semi-sextile, which is an uncomfortable aspect, okay? But Ceres, excuse me for that. Ceres is the great mother. She is really our earth. She is like Gaia. She is the great mother who helps us to attune to the cycles of life and death and nature and really connect mind, body, spirit in wholeness on the earth. But these two are not quite comfortably looking at each other, right? They're in an uncomfortable relationship. So this suggests that this Mercury retrograde has us revisiting and reviewing our connection with our bodies and the earth and the food we eat and so on. And you know, I was just watching, incidentally, one of the reasons I missed my doctor's appointment, a video, and I won't name where it came from, looking at some of the main aspects of 2024. And, you know, one person was saying, but, you know, it's not happening. And I was like, well, actually it is. You know, I am seeing this real shift towards healing somatically in ourselves, and that will ripple out with the earth. I am seeing a growth in talk about healing the earth and, you know, how we can work and create more green energy and so on and so forth, and how we can really connect more with the earth. Regenerative farming has been back on the increase, which is a bit different to organic farming, but it's similar. But regenerative farming is very retrogradish, right? It's a reword. It's revisiting, it's recycling. So all these rewords are really coming in this Mercury retrograde, as they always do. But this is a Mercury retrograde that shifts from earth to fire. And in 2024, we have Mercury retrogrades in fire signs. And fire is more action, more yang energy. Let's get doing. Whereas we've been in an earth elemental year in Mercury retrogrades, which is more kind of going in and looking at that relationship with those earthly things. Oh, you know, I feel like I'm, you know, on a roll already. We'll come back to that in a minute, but I did want to pull a card for this Mercury retrograde. And I really ask you to work with it, not fear it. Actually, this is an interesting card with this. So I am going to kind of, well, Mercury is Mercury's domicile signs, the signs it's said to rule, but the signs it's at home in are Gemini and Virgo. And we see the Virgo as part of that Earth Grand Trine, but Gemini is the twins, it's the twos, it's connection, it's community. And we got the Two of Vessels. And that's like the Two of Cups, where you can see it looks like cups. And this is from the Red Seeds Tarot, the Eleusinian Mysteries, which is my absolute favorite deck at the moment. I know that might change depending on the energies, but this is I Am Union. And so I want to read this quote for you. They both listened silently to the water, which to them was not just water, but the voice of life, the voice of being, the voice of perpetual becoming. That's from Hermann Hesse. This card describes a balanced union, one which contains a respectful understanding of the other. The love of self and the love of others takes many shapes and forms. Strong connections, encounters, and affiliations arise and are highlighted at this time. A particular relationship that may be a union or commitment appears prominent. Be aware of any jealousy or insecurity on the perimeter which could arise from a lack of trust or from relationship wounds of the past. A conscious union will always offer love and support unconditionally. We place our hearts in the flowing waters of love, nurture, trust, and understanding. We are supported. There is much kindness here. Now, there's a wriggle. I pulled this reversed, which I'm going to say, for me, with this being a Mercury retrograde, going within, revisiting, redoing, reviewing, all those things, is about our union within ourselves. All right. So take those words and refer it to yourself. So I am going to share the chart again, and then I'm going to rattle through some things. But I talked about the number 8 being strength and balance. So this kind of suggests to me that this Mercury retrograde is really about restoring strength and balance, this real kind of self-reliance, inner wisdom, self-compassion as well. So it's about restoring the balance within yourself. Okay, so that's what this start of this Mercury retrograde brings us. And it's in the sign of Capricorn, which is the structures that we live under. It's also the sign of, said to be the sign of the patriarchy, but that's only because we are under the patriarchy right now. But it's the rules, the laws, the man-made rules, the man-made structures of both our individual life and the collective. So I'm not going to say any more about that. But I want to read you the Chandra symbol for this station. This is a woman washes a man's feet and dries them with her hair. Now, you know, this could ping a few feminists. At first, it has me kind of going, but I read these symbols as allegorical and representing something, a process that's happening within us. And this is, well, feet is Pisces, by the way. And remember, I said part of this beautiful Star of David, we have Saturn in Pisces. Saturn rules Capricorn. It's almost like the divine feminine is really kind of healing and drying and cleansing and purifying the patriarchy within all of us. Again, not just about men and women. So anyway, John Sandbach says about his symbol, he channeled them. Feet signify understanding, here purified and cleansed of all darkness by the Great Mother. So often objectivity manifests in a cold, detached way that separates itself from life. This degree is trying to bring it back into wholeness by always injecting everything with love and forgiveness, with being soft and giving everyone and ourselves as many breaks as they need. And it realizes that playing a secondary role is, yes, humbling, but if it is for a higher purpose, it's never demeaning. Now, I'm a bit like, I don't see it as a secondary role. I see it as part of the cleansing and healing process. But also, it's because it's a retrograde and because I pulled that card reversed. This is about doing that for yourself, all right? So a reminder that objectivity manifests in a cold, detached way that separates itself from life. We've become detached and separated with life, with our bodies, with each other. We are disconnected. It's time to be part of life. And I am going to read something to you at the end from the wonderful Mary Oliver. So yeah, I'm going to read the Sabian symbol though as well, because, and then I'm going to rapidly go through some of the aspects. So the Sabian symbol for this station, again, we always go up, it's Capricorn 9, is an angel carrying a harp. And that, James Burgess says, is about being in tune with love, harmony, and beauty. He says everything flows within us and around us, and when we can hear the universal sound of this action, then we are in alignment with life itself. So I'm not going to read the whole description because, this will get really long if I do, but you can kind of see where this is going already. It's beautiful Star of David. It's a retrograde going within, revisiting our connection within, with earth, with everything, with love and compassion. And cups is the water. That's the energy of the emotion of the card that I brought in. So let's go to some aspects along the way before we get to the Cazimi. So Mercury will first conjunct again, because it did actually exactly conjunct it once. So on December the 16th, Mercury will exactly conjunct Pholus again at 7 degrees as we finish up the 7-year and then move into an 8-year. Okay, so you can see the numbers are adding up to. I'm not going to talk much about that. I've already mentioned that it's the Pandora's box. He's been lifting the lid off. Mercury's been over Pholus once, and let's have a quick look at that. Mercury went conjunct Pholus on December the 9th. Then will be conjunct retrograde December the 16th. Then after the retrograde will be conjunct. And that's a really important day. You don't know why. Look at this at 0 Aquarius, Pluto and the Sun. And it's back at the 8 degrees mark where Mercury stationed retrograde. So that was the first conjunction. So with Mercury being revelation and news and a transgressor of boundaries, I think, Mercury, this retrograde is likely to reveal more that we need to reflect on going through this retrograde. But also on December the 16th, Mercury will actually exactly trine Hecate. So we've still got this Star of David energy. It's starting to break up because Jupiter's now moved back to 5 degrees, the degree it will station direct at, but we're still under this beautiful earth water. But Mercury trines Hecate exactly, and we see that the way forward at the crossroads with Hecate shining that light is this energy of Virgo. And I find that interesting because a fixed star's Regulus fixed star left Leo after thousands of years, well, hundreds, fixed stars from our perspective move a degree every 72 years. Okay, so Regulus was in the sign of Leo for over 2000 years and moved into the sign of the priestess Virgo about the end of 2011. And so we are moving towards Virgo instead of being the age of like Leo, the king. We are moving into Virgo, being much more the age of the priestess, serving the woman that washes feet, if you like. Anyway, I'm getting carried away again. So then we move to the 18th. Let me have a look. I don't think that's quite right. I don't know. Oh, yeah, it is right. December the 18th. Mercury is already, you see, Mercury moves very fast. That's partly as well why Mercury retrogrades can be a little bit edgy energetically, and why, you know, little breakdowns can happen and all things like that, because Mercury retrogrades are very fast and things are fast moving. And we are supposed to slow down, and we don't like slowing down. So anyway, I always think it's best to slow down. But anyway, we can see now that this Earth Grand Trine is still there, the Water Grand Trine still there, but starting to ease a little bit. But Mercury back at 5 degrees now will exactly trine Jupiter, who, if you remember, is stationing direct on December the 30th. That's that earthy, creative, molding kind of energy, and reflecting on those that rootedness, the values, the somatic energy, you know, what really matters materially in the world as well. So Mercury trines Jupiter on the 18th of December, did of course trine Jupiter on the way in on December the 7th. Okay. And that was before Jupiter moved back to 5 degrees. And then we'll, of course, trine Jupiter again in January. So, you know, we can see that these aspects are going over and over. And then that same day, Mercury, actually not that same day, a little bit later, Mercury will actually activate that Water Grand Trine with a supportive sextile on the solstice. Incidentally, I'll be doing a solstice video also because it's quite the solstice, but we'll stick with Mercury on this one. Mercury at 2 degrees of Capricorn now. Incidentally, that's also the one of the divine feminine numbers. 1, the masculine, 2, the feminine, okay, and the coming together. But we've got 2, 2, 2 here, look at this, but will sextile Saturn, the ruler of Capricorn. We are leaving the patriarchy. We know it doesn't really seem like it with the rise of these authoritarian types and so on throughout the world, who are unhealed in their divine feminine energy. They want to control and all those kind of things. But, you know, I really kind of feel like that has to come to the surface for us to move beyond it. And this is another process. So Mercury sextiles Saturn, the ruler of the sign it's retrograde in. Then the very next day, Mercury conjuncts the sun. We have the Cazimi, which is the middle of the retrograde, on December the 22nd. 22 degrees. Remember that Mercury is going to station direct at 22 degrees. Sorry, it's 22, the 22 day. But look at this, 0 Capricorn. And this 0 is the Fool. It's the infinite possibilities in the Fool, in the tarot. It's also the number of the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the highest. There is no beginning, there is no end with the 0. It's infinite. It's the ancients proclaimed that the God force is a circle whose center is everywhere and the circumference is nowhere. So 0 is the God force and the universal energies, and reinforces, amplifies, and magnifies the vibrations of the numbers it appears with. But anyway, this is the 0. And so it's also the number of Pluto. And so we have been in a very Plutonic era, and Pluto is about to move to 0 Aquarius. But anyway, but 0 kind of is eternity. And in the tarot, it's about the new beginning of this major arcana journey. It's about taking this leap into the unknown. It's about infinite possibilities and potential and choice, and of seeing those infinite possibilities. Okay, so, you know, I think it's astounding that this is happening at that 0 degrees. Do I talk about some of the other aspects? No, we can see that the Star of David is still there faintly. Saturn and Vesta are starting to move apart because Vesta's moved back into Gemini. So that's breaking up the water grand trine, but we still really have this earth grand trine with Hecate, Pholus, and Jupiter. But so we're definitely still in this creative mode. And then on the 23rd, Mercury moves back into Sagittarius and then will oppose Vesta. On December the 23rd, at those anaretic or last degrees of Sagittarius and Vesta. And so, you know, that's mutable, that's change, that's community, that's truth. Mercury's revisiting some truths, and it could be truths in our connections and community, but it's also about revisiting our connection with ourselves, the Gemini, the 2 of vessels that we looked at before. Then on the 25th, on Christmas Day, I can't actually get it exact because the software doesn't show me that, but Mercury will cross the galactic center again. Actually, earlier on Christmas Day, let's kind of move it back and I will show you. The galactic center on Christmas Day is at 27 degrees 10. And so Mercury in the early hours of Christmas Day, if you celebrate Christmas. Incidentally, did you know Shane McGowan of Pokes was born on Christmas Day? And he was really religious. But anyway, that's... Oh, I've gone too far. So yeah, early hours of Christmas Day, Mercury will cross the galactic center again. And he's going to do that 3 times too. We've already had Mercury pass the galactic center recently. We'll go over again on December the 25th. And then once Mercury turns direct, we'll cross the galactic center again. And the galactic center sends waves of new truth and new information into our galaxy. And the galactic center has been very, very activated lately. And then on just 2 days later, really, all this is a continuation, by the way. So, you know, don't take these aspects too separately. Mercury will square Neptune exactly again. And Neptune is in this ongoing square with the galactic center for all of next year, and right really till Neptune moves into Aries the following year in 2025. So Mercury's still connected to the galactic center. Neptune in Pisces is really our connection with the muse, the mystery, source, the divine, the cosmic soup of creation. It's like the downloads potential, especially with Mercury still being retrograde, are off the charts. So, you know, you might want to keep a recording thing close at all times. You know, a journal, pencil and paper for your dreams, for your imagination. Everything will be off the chart, and you know, you'll be getting all this information from the cosmos with this Mercury retrograde. It's quite magical. Then later on December the 27th, so the very same day, so that was early in the morning, the square to Neptune, Mars will be conjunct Mercury as well. So all of this is happening together as well. 24 degrees, Mars, Mercury, square Neptune, all day and around those days. Now, the thing about Mars Neptune is that it can be a little bit draining energetically. So I would advise kind of taking it a little bit easy around that period. But it's because you're meant to slow down as well with all of this. And Mars will cut right to the heart of some of these messages that are coming through, in my opinion. Okay. Then the very next day after that. So again, all these things kind of happening together, really. Mars is going to trine Eris, the shit stirrer, the revealer of artifice, the table shaker of the energetic universe. And Mercury, see, still at the same degree as that, still close to the square with Neptune, will trine Eris. And Eris is in Aries, saying, Aries is the I am. This is our identity, and it's the new start. And it's Mars guided. So we've got Mars there too. We are being asked to envision and be the visionary leader. Aries is a leader too. We're being shown the way by Hecate and some of the other things. Sagittarius is the archer who shoots his arrows into the future. Eris is saying, shake those tables, do things differently, be the visionary, but be it in your own unique way and take a stand for who you really are. And that brings us to the end of this. And so one thing I did not read the symbols for the Cazimi. So I'm going to do those, and then I'm going to show you the direct station. So remember, the Cazimi was at 0 Capricorn. So we look at the symbols for 1 Capricorn. The Chandra symbol for 1 Capricorn is a canopy bed with curtains. This symbol signifies a private place in which to dream and retreat from the world. So we're in the middle of the retrograde, going within, right? Reflecting, reviewing, retreating. John Sandbach says it may seem like a strangely introverted symbol for such a social and gregarious sign. But the fact is that unless this very private inward place is established as a base, there can be no effective operating out in the world. Okay. So, you know, you're being invited to go into a canopy bed with curtains, and that's the middle. Interestingly, the Sabian symbol for 1 Capricorn is an Indian chief demanding recognition. Some of the interpretations of this are that those who can claim a position of authority take command. And a body must have a head and a group must have a leader. I kind of look at it a little bit differently because it's the Indian chief and primarily indigenous peoples. You know, I know every tribe and band had different kind of, you know, guidance and layout and rules. But often we had clan mothers in a lot of Native American tribes. And we can look at this as all indigenous people as well. Really, the head, the authority in a lot of shamanic and indigenous cultures was nature, was our connection with nature and that divine spark within and how that spoke to us. So that's the head, that's the personal power, I think, that's this symbol is referring us to. So now let's look at that station direct, and then I'll be finished. January the 1st, 2024. I know it's just our man-made calendar, but it works for a lot of what we're doing in the world right now. Mercury will station direct 22 degrees 10 minutes of Sagittarius. It will be in a square to Juno, which is our sacred contract asteroid, which is also, she was the goddess of women and children, in the sign of Virgo, the sign of the priestess. Again, the moon also in square to Mercury. Really, Mercury is still in square to Neptune, but this is really saying this is the way forward. And then Mercury is going to shoot the arrows forward. The visionary saying this is where we're going. Mercury, I mean, Sagittarius is the adventurer. It's the wanderer and the wanderer with an A and an O. And it likes to be on the move and shooting its arrows towards the future. So, and 22 is a master number. 22 is the number of dreams made manifest, of ancient wisdom, realization, force of nature. We are building something new, you know, and I know it's only a part of the process, you know, as I look at the cycles more and more and build on them, this is a part of the process. This is a really good Mercury retrograde, in my opinion. So work with it. Don't fear it. So let's have a look at the Chandra symbol for this Mercury station direct. A woman wearing many tiny bells. The sharp sound of the bells stimulates and awakens the energies of the meridians, and as well as the subtle and physical bodies, and as well the subtle and physical bodies. Wherever she goes, this woman gently and joyfully stimulates. She's always waking people up, and with a gentle tinkling rather than like an alarm clock. And when we wake up, it might dawn on us that what might be accomplished. Okay. So, you know, this is a real kind of wake up call, Mercury retrograde. I kind of think, you know, the fact that Cazimi is at 0 Capricorn is really kind of almost telling us that we are ready to start building new structures. As Pluto moves into Aquarius, we're going to build on that. All these things work in tandem. You can see that Jupiter is now direct. Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius. He's ready to start building that more rooted, value-driven, grounded world and connected, somatic world. Taurus is very somatic, okay? Other things we can look at here is that when Mercury stations direct, Ceres is at the midpoint of Sagittarius, and she is going to come up and meet Venus in the new year at 21 degrees Sagittarius, or rather Venus will catch up. And that's kind of like Ceres and Persephone reunited. So, you know, all of this is moving together to giving us opportunities to connect, to move to that Two of Vessels, to connect within and then without, to really kind of heal this disconnection we've been living in. And Mercury is the messenger. He takes us, he brings what the gods are telling us down to earth. He was the communicator between the gods and earth, and the planets are really kind of the gods, so to speak. So I'm not going to go on. You get the idea. I'm excited for this Mercury retrograde. And that's why I'm opening the doors to my new community, rebranded The Nest, on December the 14th, because it's my birthday, and because the new moon will be gaining light, and because I'm keeping it open for the Mercury retrograde right till December the 31st, and Mercury stations direct on January the 1st. So we'll be ready to do work in the community. I'm not going to tell you all that the nest entails, because I've got there'll be a sales page and I'll talk about that more later, but I hope you'll consider joining me. But if not, I just hope you get something from this video. I love giving content. I love supporting you on your journey. I'm always grateful for you all for watching, leaving me comments, coming back and telling me what's happening in your lives. As you know, if you comment already, I usually answer all comments. Sometimes I just give a heart or a thumbs up as well, but generally I engage with you in the comments. So leave me a comment or come and join me in the nest on the 14th. Much love. Enjoy the Mercury retrograde and don't sweat the small stuff, please. This is some powerful, powerful aspects. And keep that pad and pen ready for the downloads. I love you. See you next time.